Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and you join me as we look at the final years of the life of Eochaid Mugmedón. Eochaid, the Slave Lord. I think it's a title he deserves. He's taken 30 hostages during his career. We'll see if we can get to that most feared of number for Irishmen by adding another 3 hostages. Things are a bit all over the place for his son Niall, who is ruling in Britain. We can put that in air quotes. The guys who overthrew his mother are making another stab at it. I don't actually know. I think that was that a war to end her tyranny? And then so they're now starting a war to actually claim the province. So we might see Niall deposed. He has 183 men. He is fighting 3 major wars. He's attempting to defend Pictland. I think these guys are doing something. And he's also at war with Ulster. There you go. So we're probably gonna do nothing. We can hold a feast, and that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to send out the invitations for a feast. We're going to lose some stress, and see about what the campaign for the year 418 is going to be like. The feast is a cheery gathering. I wonder, is it though? Look at how much loss there has been since the last feast. His wife has died, one of his sons has died, and the other has left the court to go and take command of a sinking ship. So it has actually been a pretty mournful period for him, and we also get some bad news there on the right hand side. The wine, we cracked open the next barrel. I imagine a ton of it was taken in the siege of Drumahare. Maybe not though. The wine merchants should still be in town. It's going to cost us another 50 quid. And the alliance has expired. We had formed an alliance with Ulster. That has fallen apart because Luaid has died. Yeah, I think is it his daughter that we're currently betrothed to, so we can break that betrothal. Just break the baby. So really, our only options are houses we already have alliances with. So here we're reinforcing our alliance with the Faroes, or the Faroe Islands. So our daughter we married her off to one of this guy's sons. So we're basically going to become our daughter's brother-in-law. I think that's what's going to happen here. Just send the proposal. So the poor old thing, this is literally her first day on the job. Just gotten the pop-up that was accepted. My dear wife, Muelmura, has been working hard to ensure that everything about the feast... She's only just got here. The feast had started before the wedding was even organised. She's technically organising her own wedding. With her beside me at the great table, everything is ready. I squeeze her hand and smile at her before rising to announce the start of the celebrations. So we lose some extra stress. And we get a new martial lifestyle perk. Our daughter-in-law, so who is this? This is Elil and his wife have given us a granddaughter, Cahan. We'll go with that. We're still in the military perk tree. I think at this stage of our life, do we want natural dread? We could switch to a completely different focus. We could switch to learning and go for... try to push down whole body to get maybe the carefree perk. Do you know what? That is what we will do. I'll go for courtship. Natural dread growth. Just natural dread plus 15. Makes sense. We'll unlock that. And... we'll go for the medicine focus. So our guests depart. I actually get a chance to talk to my wife for the first time. Until next time. I was looking around to see where would make a good raiding target. And what I've decided, what I think actually makes the most sense, is that we would seek to reassert our dominance in Ireland. I don't know, is this a great idea, splitting the armies like this? Munster is severely weakened, 1300. Leinster is fairly weak as well at the moment. We might actually let the smaller army get into position first of all and see is Munster going to raise its forces to come against us. But we're going to go on a bit of a tour of the southern part of the island of Ireland. Le Moga, I had to think there for a second, to make sure that they know just how powerful we are. An alliance both collapsed and reformed all at the same time. Our son's wife has just become the ruler of Ross, which is interesting. So her brother died, so that could be an interesting position for the future of the family. So just as the raiding begins, we're told that the High Chiefess is with child. I'm going to try and keep the army staggered as we raid this region. So I leave the guys in Ennis for a while until the siege here in Thomond is half complete. We might actually start moving them down. So we're going to burn Munster, and then we're going to burn Leinster. And do you know what? We might very well even do Ulster as well. It seems though our alliances have broken with them. We've taken a prisoner in the siege of Thomond, and I never even thought of this. Dubna technically counts as a hostage, I suppose. We didn't take him in a raid. So 31 or 32 taken so far. What are we going to do with him? The devil. Out carrying on and gallivanting around with our daughter. If we were to execute him, it's an act of tyranny. Friends and lovers of Dubna, yeah. I don't think he has a lot of relationships other than... So he has one friend. If we negotiate his release, do you know what? Yeah, we'll gain a hook on him. And we will release Lorne for 25 quid back to her father. So Dubna has been released. I don't know if we'll restore him to his whatever office it was that he previously held. So we have a chance to institute fire and blood. We will take that absolutely, especially in Munster. And sadly we get notification that our wife is no longer with child. So I was just about to say this siege was going very well, and still is. We're progressing. We've basically swept down from the north, and we're now heading from east to west. Is that Munster is returning with forces. Now, they're not going to be so foolish as to go out to sea and come back in the awkward way, are they? They were either raiding or they were at war themselves. Defending... I think they're actually defending Niall. So yeah, we've totally sieged down Munster. We swept in from the north, headed from west to east, and we're now basically in a position to hit Leinster without any opposition. The only problem is that we might lose some troops to attrition, but Leinster's forces are nowhere near enough to stop us, and I think almost a year of raiding through Ireland has passed. Oh, that's... I had paused, but it didn't make a difference. There is a war. We're being called in. We will accept. I'm not going to lie. It took me a couple of seconds there to figure out whose war am I fighting. That doesn't look great. That does not look great. So we're just short of a complete siege of Leinster. Will we go for a complete siege of Leinster? I think Leinster might be heading up to siege our land. Look, it's fine. One ally joined. It's fine. It's grand. Lads, it's grand. I think we're actually A-okay. Numbers don't look too bad, but that depends if we actually bring our forces. We will, but when will we bring our forces into this battle? I'm just checking to see if Leinster is starting to make any moves. So we've taken... Our grandson has been taken prisoner. So that, I think, is one of Niall's grandchildren, or one of Niall's children. And we are seeing... I don't know, it's an enemy army, but it's coming to our land. So we've come back with 56 gold and 77 gold. We merged the two armies under the command of Ucha. And we are resisting an army from Stirling. So a Scottish army has decided to land and attack Drumahare. They are heading across into Ulla. We actually see a lot of Scottish forces heading down in this direction. And just north of Alloch, we hit the main body. I think they've been wiped. And let's take a look. Look at this for a scenario. Are we at war with everyone, basically? At this stage, I don't even know who we're defending anymore. It just looks like Connacht is at war with most of Pickland. But what we're going to do is... going to march across and either siege down a few places or hit some armies. How many prisoners did we take? We're up to 34. We're up to 34. If we include Duvna, we have avoided the most feared number for an Irishman. Are any of these guys any good? No good. Realistically, no good. Well, well, well. Ally joins war. Vicarious Neil. So that should be them. Look at this, all the buddies back together again. Who the hell has got... Leinster! You divils! We have another granddaughter. Strong, wise, etc, etc. Will we break this off to hammer them? We'll take a quick look at that battle that occurred there to the north of Alloch. Has Duvna... Duvna hasn't gone back into the army yet since we released him. Here is our new physician. Here's one of our sons. I think that's it. That's the only one we have in the army. That's the only one that's left in the army. I don't know if all these guys were killed. Oh no, one of them died and we sacrificed two of them. That was a bad battle for those guys. So it does look like our capital is going to be hit by Leinster. They're heading out to sea, or they're trying to anyway. My courtier was killed. So we've actually had some courtiers captured by Leinster. I don't know, is there anything to stop them getting away? Our wife was actually captured, and she has been released to serve as his concubine. Well now, you've gotten divorced. Oh, that poor girl has had a bad year or two since she arrived. One of our champions has been wounded. We've taken back all the loot. So we had 3 people captured. One of them is our granddaughter. I suppose I should start there. Ransom our granddaughter for 25. And then we have a courtier. Her mother, there was an attempt to kill her. A plot to kill her in the last episode. She was killed in the siege as well. So we'll ransom her back shortly. Could we actually march after these guys and hit them? That devil. So this was supposed to be our great enforcing of our authority onto Ireland, and instead Ucha would most certainly feel as though he has been made a fool of. Our alliance has ended since Niall is no longer married to her. Why? I thought that was Niall for a second. It looks just like him. Why is she no longer married to Niall? Is that even the woman that was married to Niall? Where the hell is Niall? So she's the sister of the current ruler, and she is Niall's former spouse. Niall's son and heir is in prison. One of his brothers is in prison from his mother's... one of his mother's children. Look, this is confusing. This is confusing. There's a lot of red on the screen. There's a lot of red in Ucha's heart. I've no idea what's after happening over here, but the war that we got dragged into because of Niall's marriage to his wife that we organised, we're now in that war, but nothing's happening. So I'll stop these guys here. We'll bring them back. That army has disbanded. We'll head back home. We'll stand down the army. Will we stand down the army? Do we need to? We don't. Let's go up and involve ourselves in this war for a bit. We've overwhelming numbers, but there's a huge army here. It's been back and forth, and this usually happens towards the end of my rulers' lives, especially when they start trying to enforce authority, is that they've created so many enemies. They have created so many enemies that somebody is going to come in behind the back of them and do some damage. And this time it was Leinster. Leinster will pay for that. So we're off marriage hunting again for Ucha. The options aren't great. This girl is chaste, one-legged, so attraction opinion -10, wounded, health, severe penalty, and this is a 1-year-old baby. She brings, I think, 1,000, and this alliance would secure maybe 1,200. So, yeah, we're going marrying another baby. All we have to do is just wait 15 years. So from what I can understand, whoever we're fighting has massed their entire army in a single pile. And I don't know who they're coming for. They're either coming for us or for these guys. I hope it's these guys, because if it is, then we can move in to assist them. They're coming against us. Now, are the other forces... if the other forces come in, we have a chance. Okay, they've actually caught them a bit early. This isn't looking great. maybe there's a mix of about 2 or 3 different actual armies fighting here. It's a defeat, a pretty hefty defeat. One of our councillors, or former councillor, has been taken captive. Let's take a look at that battle. That's one of the first battles we have suffered in a long time. We did a good chunk of casualties to them, I think. Did we? They come out with 29, we come out with 20 from what I can see. 70 kills, 57. It was just, we're not in a position at the moment to bring all of these forces to bear against these guys. So, I don't know. We are heading back home. And we have to spend more money getting more hostages out of prison. Oh, this hasn't gone well. They know that we are in bad need of new commanders. Not the best, not the worst. We will take Damn Daniel. I'm going to let the numbers recuperate for a minute. I've also sent out the Herald looking for new champions. So I might actually stand down the army to make sure that Daniel is a part of it. We have another guy called Lieber. So I forgot, of course, that we didn't need to stand down the army. I just recruited the 2 knights and 1 soldier. We have 2,500 troops. We're going to try and push south and hit this army that we're at war with. I have no idea what battle it's fighting, though. Now, these guys are hostile, so I think this is a completely separate war. I was hoping we could get to them before they joined up. But here's a smaller army we can hit. We get a lifestyle perk. We will go for anatomical studies. In the midst of battle, out reading books. So the Battle of Carrick, where we suffered a humiliating defeat not that long ago. We swing that around and press the wrong button. Will we stay where we are and siege? Or will we try and move on? A siege has started, so we'll stay here for a second and see what exactly is happening. There is just anarchy and chaos. Is this a separate war? They're just at war with these guys. That's a big naked woman. There you go. Another not great knight arrives. Skoliga. Skoligi. We'll recruit him. He won't be seeing service for a while. I wonder how poor old Niall's battles are going. So, minus 48 against the guys who are trying to overthrow him. I wonder if I should be sieging this region, because is that just going to summon that massive army that we see wandering around, like 4,500 that are trying to take this place. So we might wander across to here. I'd be looking to hit this army at some stage, if it loses more troops. And I think that's the one that that battered us the last time around. So our alliance with, I have no idea who this is, Fife, has ended. This is the second time this has happened. Bye-bye, baby. Bye-bye. Oh, Will poor Ukka ever get to marry a baby? So our options are pretty non-existent. There's no good alliances to be established. So I've gone for just any marriage. And here, at the very least, is somebody with high intrigue, so that they might be able to serve, because I think it's Ukka's weakest trait, pretty much. So I think this is a good counter. They'll be able to assist him in ruling and in setting up feasts. So we'll send that proposal. Here is the final knight to be summoned, I think, as part of the invitation. Also the most expensive so far at 6. We're losing money every month by keeping the army standing and taking part in these battles. It's been a while since we've actually been on a raid. Oh wait, no, we raided all of Ireland there not that long ago. But this is going to be... It's going to take a while to recover from this, I think. I don't understand what these guys are doing. Your son, Vicarius Neil, has married Tarsila of Lincoln. Why wasn't I invited? There's a lot of red. Well, look, he's grown up, and let him make his own mistakes now. He could be out with his father, raiding the west coast of France, but instead, this is what he's at. Let him way off. He can make his own mistakes. He'll come crawling home yet. Those absolute devils in Leinster, they have won a war against Ulster. I tried to secure an alliance with Ulster to prevent this. And now look at Leinster. Creeping up the coast. This devil has my former wife as a concubine. He's gotten her pregnant. The absolute devil. Do we want to hit this army? See, I have no idea what we do and don't want to do now at this stage. Can we hit these guys? So it should be a small enough battle. Might add some war score. I think it added a grand total of 1. And you know what? That army is now in a good looking position to attack. So I think this is the army that that actually gave us that defeat over there. It's split in half. We took out one of their smaller sections previously. And that gives us 100% war score. We should hopefully, our allies should be in a position to bring this to an end. I think... Oh, look at this. Somebody crawling in the last couple of minutes. Thanks. Great job. Well done. Yeah. Trying to get some of my prestige. My prestige. Can I go home now? I thought this was going to continue on, but it hasn't. It has ended. We won the war. We won the war. We won the war. I'm going to bring that army back. Stand it down. That was that tiny army that we came in against and smashed, and that was that final battle that won the war for 10 prestige. Right, let's get it. At least he's wearing clothes again now in battle. Let's get everyone home, stand down the army, and prepare for the next thing that we need to do. I always forget that you can stand down the army wherever you want it, so they have been stood down without getting home. We will call a hunt to decrease some stress. And the army can get back up to 3,100, which is going to be its largest size ever. So here's our champion Finn. And Finn wants to tell us something about Ben Ulla. If it's that she was having an affair with our son, we know. We will gain stress, however, because we're impatient. Look. Whatever. I probably know what it was. We return home from the wild invigorated. We gain some prestige. The hunt ends. We have a new shaman. Because Ben Ulla died. Maybe that was her secret. She was dying. So we have a new shaman. Unfortunately, his name is not Seamus. His learning is not good. It's quite common for me to make my court chaplains my physicians, because their learning tends to be high, but this guy is not great. He's also not a great soldier, so he's not good at anything. We're finally in a position to ransom back poor old Eramon. And look, that looks sad. An empty prison. That guy is useless. Yeah, our lead champion. Assign him, absolutely. So here's our steward, which was a position held by Brian once upon a time. Constantinus is going to stay as the marshal. Do we have any other better chancellors? Will we put Dovna back in? Okay, Dovna, we'll forgive you for cavorting with my daughter. And Kovla, Dovna's wife. No. Maybe not. So we could wait, but you know what? He's in no position to resist us. We come to Leinster, their High Chieftain. We declare war. Raid for captives. This divil has been an utter nuisance. A nuisance and a menace. I think what we'll do is we'll actually keep the two armies divided. So only part of Munster has joined. I think I will make them pay for that as well. We could very well be in a position to actually take the two major holdings very quickly. I'm trying to catch that army and move it to here. Okay. If we can deal with his actual army first of all. Because there's no point running around abandoning sieges and stressing ourselves out. Let's try and meet his army in an honourable battle in which we scream at him. What have you done with my wife? I want my wife back. Foolishly, he's commanding the battle himself. Forvasuk has been wounded by their lead champion. I've seen his name pop up every once in a while. While we are here. So we'll send one army for Tara. How do I actually... There we go. And I will keep these guys here in Dundelgan. So all of Leinster's ill-gotten gains are under siege. I would hope that we'll be able to siege down Dundelgan before he's able to recuperate to a level where he can attack Tara. Munster, rather wisely, has made absolutely no input whatsoever in this war. My son has been wounded. It's a Leal. What is the major malfunction? Wounded, one-eyed. Again, this would probably mean that he is not eligible for succession. Considering he's a 20, I trust that he, by doing this, that it's fine. I trust you. And I hope you trust your god. We'll take a quick look at the battle. We managed to kill. Damn Daniel killed one of their knights, and the other was killed by Forvasuk, who was wounded, so they only made it out with one knight. Okay, they're bringing in some forces from Munster. But we should be able to take Tara in a few seconds, and we will march down. Actually, they'll come up to us. How handy. How handy. They don't know what to do. Oh, they've realized they made a terrible, terrible mistake. Now, I don't think we'll be able to get in there before they get out. And we did. So one of our armies goes in and holds them in place, and the other comes in from the side and smashes them. We're at 100% war score. Their one and only champion, Gura, has still gotten away. I was hoping we'd manage to kill him. We will enforce our demands. Greetings, High Chieftain Ukka of Connachtha. Blessings upon you and your house, you devil. You are a much greater foe than I imagined. Too right. Kathov Makkahar. You absolute devil. So be it. We'll disband our armies. We have 4 prisoners. Who have they given us? Here's one of the prisoners that they have given us, marked for execution by the Dagda. So we're now again put in a position where what do we do? Do we offend the Dagda? Because it'll be minus 100 if I don't execute this person. We're not executing her. But it's a pity that we can't marry her. Because, of course, we've already gotten married since we lost her. The life that she has had. We have her child in our prison as well. Marked for... yeah. Designated human sacrifice. So I wonder, I imagine that that the King of Leinster selected the prisoners himself, and he was like, here, have these 2. I don't care about them. We'll recruit her. I'm not... I don't think Ukka is cruel, but he's not even that cruel. And of course, this isn't doing anything against Kathov. It's doing it against himself, or Kahav. So we will negotiate her release. Where would the baby go? We'll wait for the baby. We'll wait for her to be released first of all. This guy, again, we'll have to execute these. So we have an execution for the Dagda and Etna. Poor old Etna. Her son was killed in the battle. So poor old Etna. So there we go, our people and the druids. Our shaman is unhappy with us. We've lost some piety for recruiting her. She is our courtier. How do I take her as a concubine? He was able to take her as a concubine. Don't tell me I need to do it while she's in prison. So we're gonna ransom the baby. We're gonna ransom the baby back to your man. So we've lost piety. Basically, we've lost a lot of piety. I wonder if I needed to make her a concubine before... Oh, wait, no. Do I go this way? No. No idea. There you go. Farewell. Bye-bye. But you know what? At least we can pretend that we did something. So we are told that the High Chiefess is with child. I've been thinking about maybe raiding this region. This poor old lad he has about 170 troops. He has an overwhelming army in comparison to who's attacking him. The problem is he is in a number of wars. So I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on there. We're preparing for, I think, yeah, with it being May already, I think what we'll probably do is just a short local campaign. We learn a new lifestyle perk, not a moment too late, because he is shoving up in years. We'll go for the stress gain. And it's going to take a long time to push for getting a health boost. But we do have the small health boost from the medicine focus, so it's not too bad. But he's 63 years of age, so the final couple of decades, he didn't get to see a tremendous amount of raiding. I'm going to see if this Manx army will... I don't know where the hell they are. I was going to see if they'd leave, but there's only 23 of them, so they're involved in a war somewhere. There's poor Crochan. Raided down. The insult that Leinster imposed on us. And look at this, Leinster. Leinster's got money again. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And like I was saying then, it's pretty much Wales, which has kind of remained outside of the devastation of all of what's going on in Britain. In England, we have a daughter, Una. We grow to be strong and wise. And for the first time in what feels like a decade, our forces return to only their second ever attempt on Wales. There are some high value regions here. Well, as we have to go that way anyway. I was wondering if that was a raiding army. It's not. Leinster has risen a raiding army. I wonder where it's going raiding. It does genuinely look to be going for Scotland. Fire and blood. We will absolutely take bounteous plunder. We've taken some hostages. The first in a very long time. So this, just these couple of regions here have put together a tremendous amount of gold for us. I might be wrong, but I think these are hostages number 39 and 40. So we were told this guy was a champion. He is a tremendous learning. We could prepare him to succeed as physician. And the other one then we will get some ransom for. So do you know what? And he will convert. Especially at this point in time, about 7 years out, 7-ish years out from Niall being sent back home and capturing St. Patrick, you wouldn't really have had conversions. People were willing to like live alongside. When Christianity spread to Ireland, it was simply, we used to worship 8 gods. Now you've come along and said there's only one god. Sure, okay. We now worship 9 gods. That's pretty much what happened in the early days, and then Christianity continued pushing the idea of like, no, you can't still worship Lou and Bridget. Okay, fine, Bridget's a saint, so you can continue to worship Bridget, but she's not a god. So you wouldn't really have had demands for conversion, so it'd be cool if you could actually have a court of Christians. Maybe pushing for the conversion of your region. Munster, I swear, if you attack Dromahair, there's 800 men there. You couldn't possibly attack Dromahair. But I could attack Tara. Wait, no, I can't, because we were at war with these guys very recently, so it's not a valid target anymore. We've come back to Ireland for no reason whatsoever. We might as well dump our money and head for France. So I don't quite know when it happened, but Eochaid has become exalted amongst men. Can we get him to living legend status? We're wandering along the southern coast of a very shattered Britain. I should have split the armies first of all. We might very well return and split the armies, because I think it would be massively beneficial for us. There are a number of regions that we could siege down. We could actually give our son a hand and siege down the place that's attacking him. I think I might do that. Or we could head across to those 2 regions, because they have money. We've taken more hostages. See, I don't know if I can siege these places now that they have already been conquered by somebody else, and I don't know what kind of impact that is having. Since when did Irish warlords ever care about the impact they were having on Roman Britain? I don't think it's having any effect other than the effect of putting money into my pocket. We're up to prisoners, number 41, and the meaning of life, number 42. 50 gold, thank you very much. And this guy is traits. He would have made a good physician at a different point in time. So coming back into Wales, in the centre of Wales, there's actually some more territories that can be raided. But this is fantastic. Are we seeing some armies coming out to try and deal with us? I was about to say, if you want to fight me, you're welcome to try. I would like to have been able to get to the mountains. Let's see if we can get to the mountains. If they catch us, I'm pretty confident. Maybe they weren't trying to attack us. Maybe they were trying to actually conquer this region. Are we interfering with a war? Very sorry. I didn't realize. My son is the emperor. Do know if you knew that. Just saying, you might see him around the place. I wonder, does Eochaid talk proudly in all these villages that he's raiding about his son? I think if we push in, we lose... How many? We'll check that again in a second. A secret exposed. Okay, so this is Oh god. Right, so this is Niall's... This is my daughter-in-law. Has brought forward evidence. Why are you bringing me evidence? I don't care. That Sloania is not the daughter of Niall. Who are these people? So here's Sloania. So Tarsila has brought forward evidence. She has just discovered that she had an affair. Sloania is without blame, yet her consequences could be dire. Carinus and Tarsila, on the other hand, I am lost for words. So Tarsila gains the trait adulterer. Niall loses opinion of Tarsila. Tarsila loses opinion of the guy she had an affair with. The guy she had an affair with loses opinion of Tarsila. No, this is somebody different. This is very bizarre, but Tarsila has found evidence that she had an affair. I'm lost. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. So, people are offering us ransoms. We'd better check. Does this bring us up to 44? I think it does. We will accept for that guy. And he doesn't... Do we want to hold on to him, or are we happy to take 59 quid now? I think we're happy. As in, we're happy to take the money now. Look. It's been a long raid. It's been a long raid. So we've pushed a bit too far inland, and we're losing substantial numbers of troops. And the crazy thing is that I think Niall is actually beginning to turn things around. I think he's brought one war to an end. I think he is possibly getting the upper hand in this one. Now, there is definitely one he's getting hammered in. But I think he's defending somebody, so he doesn't really care. There's a good chance he's actually going to maybe not get deposed. We're going to bring the army back. We're going to see about getting some recruits, rebuild the army. So I think we lost about 800 men in that campaign. We're going to split the army this time, and we're going to head for France in our next tour. So we've brought back 150 gold. Our wife has given birth to another daughter, Shiama. And we are now in a position to hold a feast. We will send out the invites. So we have a cheery gathering. The feast will begin. Is it cheery? Again, the last one wasn't cheery. It turned cheery halfway through when we had a wedding. And then, well, yeah. Well, Vura, I've seen she's off gallivanting in various different courts around the place. She's still registered as your man's concubine, but she's gone away doing her own thing. We could... God, she does not like us. I think at this point in time in our life, we're going to try and claim as much prestige as we can. We did a mighty job. This was all our feast. So we've just lost opinion with our wife because we claimed that some work she did that we did it. However, we can gain it back by spending some time with her, because everybody will get angry if we send her to tutor them. A disaster strikes. More wine lost at the I was going to say at the wedding, at the feast. Thank God we did that raid. Oh lads, thank God we did that raid. We're getting some hooks expiring on people that we took hostage a long time ago. Alil goes on and on about military strategies. Do you know what? He's not. He's had an interesting military career. We'll tell him to keep going. And the guests depart. We thank our wife for the success. It's up to 83 opinion now, so it was a good thing that we took the credit for all that she had done. Until next time, and it's entirely possible that that is the one of the last feasts that we will ever have, because like I said, this man is shoving on to 66 years of age. In preparation for the next campaign, I have recruited a guest. Nothing impressive, 9, but look at poor old Khan. How the mighty have fallen. This guy was one of our most... he's still the martial, 21 martial ability, but he had very high prowess once upon a time, so he's suffering -9 penalties from all the hardships of life, and he's 1 prowess less than Daniel, who is sick, who is ill. So he's inside in his bed, and he is still fighting better than poor old Constantinus. But we were able to do that just in time for the next, like I said, the next campaign, which I'd be hoping to start in May. We'll see how those numbers do, though. So we're raising our armies, but there's nothing we can do about this. We see that Leinster has attacked again for control of Athlone. I'm gonna set these armies as raiders under the command of our greatest knight. Is he still our greatest knight, I wonder? He is indeed at 32. I'm not too sure what his prowess is, like 6. Maybe not a man we should be sending into battle, especially not in command, but then again, he has the commander advantage of 32. But basically, 2 of our greatest knights are going to command. Do you know what? I'm going to send them out separately. And we're going to see if we can go and hit the west coast of France, I think. I've been promising a bit of tour of the west coast of France for a while. We'll get to Brittany, and we'll see from there what direction we're going to go in. So we've landed off the coast of Brittany. What we're going to maybe do is try and hit these 2 regions and possibly run, because what we're seeing is what we're seeing over there on the right hand side. The might of the Empire arrayed against us. The Empire is not involved in any wars at the moment. So it is in a position to raise 10,000 troops to deal with our shenanigans. Now, of course, what we can do is maybe try to keep moving. And if we come down the west coast, we can see down in this region, we have not made a trip down here. So I think if we try to get down to here, far away from where their army raised, and we have a couple of areas that we could hit. There is a scheme at court. Somebody is plotting to kill Sheila, Khan's wife. That's terrible. We have a new lifestyle learning perk. In the midst, we probably picked up some books in France. Mental resilience, which we don't massively need. I think, yeah, sure. Wash your hands. And we'll see maybe about progressing a bit down the coast. Now, no, we're not. It's there's other raiders down this way. Other people have had the same idea that we had. So we managed to take somebody else hostage. And Dovna has died. Dovna has died. The devil. So before we deal with Dovna, we'll take a look at our prisoners. I have no idea how many prisoners we have now. I'll be keeping track of this. I can't remember, is it 40... Is it 44? Or 46? Or 48? It's a number. Somewhere. Anyway, I don't know. Cassius, we can ransom him for 50. We can ransom this guy for another 50. This prisoner... Do we want to... Do we want to sacrifice her? Is that what Ucca is known for? Is that really what Ucca is known for? I'm prepared to... Has she any traits that are of any use to us? We could recruit her. Let's recruit her and demand her conversion. And finally, so this answers my question. This is the wife of the... He's the heir to something. But this answers my question, which is right-click and make concubine. So this is what we should have done with Welvera. But finally, at 67, Ucca finally gets that concubine that he's been looking for along the west coast of France for the last couple of years. There you go. If we come and look at the list of people for succession for the position of Chancellor, have we anyone as a better steward? No. So Ruin, who we just hired, as a knight, he's on his first trip. He's going to become our new Chancellor to replace Dovna, who had carrying out devilment with our daughter. So lots of ransoms coming in. I think we'll push for here and we'll bring down the other army. So this poor thing has joined our court and might provide a wife for one of our knights in a couple of years. I was going to say I don't know if we want to push inland, but do we gain the benefits from being close to the river? I'm not too sure. We're not losing any numbers or anything at the moment, so that's good. As in, we don't seem to be suffering crippling levels of attrition or anything like that. And there you go. Leinster, for all of the embarrassment that we have dumped onto them, they have taken Meath, and Meath now simply ceases to exist. So Tara has fallen to Leinster, who I presume will now become the most dominant power on the island in terms of leading the culture. The peasants in Evonia are ecstatic again. They were ecstatic there a couple of years ago. We will graciously accept their gifts. Thank you for the gifts. They're lovely. I think we've already created tremendous risks for ourselves. By coming this far inland, I was planning on sieging down along the north of this river. What I think we will do, because I think these guys, if they're coming for us, I'd be confident that we could take them in battle. But then again, you don't know how sophisticated their troops are. So I think what we will do is we will withdraw. Oh, Lord. Ulach, what now? Oh, God. At first I thought it a joke. How could my son Eliel and his sister Ulach be lovers? Yet the letter my spies intercepted. I thought we sent you off to the Faroe Islands. I'll always send you off to the Faroe Islands. Attempt to cover up the liaison. Imprison both of them for disgracing House Connaughta. I'm just gonna try and... I'm an old man. I don't need this in my old age. I was thinking of actually just crossing the river and juking that army that was following us. So all we've done is moved slightly up the coast to where we were, just short of where we were a while ago. We have a son, Conan, or Conan. Will we live to see him become a knight? I don't think so. Or a champion. Bounteous Plunder will give us 75 prestige and 16 stress only. Perfect. And there we go. And we've captured more prisoners. Like I said, I am totally losing count of how many prisoners we have. Will I bring this army down to there? I won't, because they are full to the brim. These guys could take another... Sure. So, our grandson has left prison. That's Niall's son. So something has happened in that war. Something indeed has happened in that war. I think he has managed, he has indeed, he has managed to defend his throne. Fair play to him. We should probably pay him a visit. Surely we are approaching 50 prisoners at this stage. Like I said, I actually have lost count. The history books will tell us, no doubt. We're getting an offer of 10. We will accept. This guy, nobody will accept a ransom for you. Oh dear. And we return home with 161 and 149 gold. What does Leinster look like? 2,300 troops. I think we still have more than them. I'm wondering if we would be in a position to sack Athlone just as a show of strength. So something is happening in Munster. We can sack Athlone and Birr. The Leinster is raising its army against us. It's hit us, and let's see if we can get the other army in to assist. So it's running an unsuccessful holding operation, I was going to say. So we made it in just in time to send him packing. Now we see the details. Whoa! 111 kills by Morgus. I thought this is our champion. That's actually a fairly solid amount of kills. Oh, he's a 15 prowess. Who else do we have in here? Forvasuk. My god, I remember when he was a young man. Constantinus. There's Ruin. My god, those are massive numbers. Those are absolutely massive numbers. So they were utterly routed. I think that we might very well do a tour of Leinster. So the big problem with doing a tour of Leinster is that we'd suffer a good chunk of casualties. So it's actually easier for us to raid them by sea. I had just withdrawn the forces from Athlone back into Ivonia to sail them around. You can actually see them there to the bottom left of the screen. They were going to lose 100 forces each by moving around Leinster. So I withdrew the troops. I was sending them around by sea. That we were gonna attack the eastern coast. And in the midst of it, Eochaid has died of old age. He was a charming man, and he became famous for his elaborate feasts and grandiose balls. I think he was also famous for the raids. High Chieftain Brian ascends to the throne. Blessed with an abundance of friends, he's likely to find strong support for his rule. I'm not too sure about that. He's a lackluster leader. I think he's the only one of Eochaid's sons to have all of his limbs and still be alive. Other than Niall, but Niall's Oslaughter. What an amazing career it has been by Eochaid Mugmedón. He finally, in his last great overseas hurrah, he finally got that concubine that he had always been looking for. Let's see what we can see the successor. Show the titles, actually, yes, okay. So, Ivonia has gone to Eliel, and Conan has gotten Breffni. I wonder why Niall was pushed so far down the succession. Was it because... I have no idea. I have no idea, and I really... I won't say I don't care, but that's handy. We'll continue as Chieftain Brian, but we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at Eochaid's stats. He fought 9 wars, 5 offensive and 4 defensive. He was finishing off the learning lifestyle. He was devoted servant. He was exalted among men. This is I think these are Brian's stats, or Brian's stats, are they? I was hoping we could get him to living legend. We got stuck in a couple of wars that took a considerable amount of time to get out of. We should have probably... I don't know, was it possible to get him to living legend? We did a good job, though. He was dreaded, most important, and he died of old age on the 15th of November at 429 at 68 years of age. We will continue as High Chieftain Brian, just to take a look at some stats around the place. Like I said, this is where the armies were, so there it is. There it is. There's the army that Eochaid was commanding. Off the coast of Ireland, off the coast of Leinster, where he visited tremendous devastation, off the coast of Wales, where he had started visiting in recent years on his raids. Considerable, tremendous effort that he was able to push basically from Connacht all the ways down to this region. This region is still devastated from his visits. So you've this spot here, up here, across from Britain he visited a couple of times. Britain he cast into utter devastation. I'm proud of all he achieved. Where is the man himself? What does Brian look like? I mean, the wife has better... His wife actually does have better prowess than him. Absolutely. But where is your father? Where is your father? There he is. And view kills. How many executions? Oh, man. 11. There you go. I was just about to start counting, and thankfully I realized it said it at the bottom. So 11 executions. Somewhere around the 50 mark in terms of hostages and prisoners taken. That's if we include Dovna, who we captured, because he was cavorting with our daughter, who's now cavorting with her brother. That's something that we won't talk about. I think it's fair to say that, especially as we got the Raider trait, that we were able to live up to the name of Eochaid Mugmedón. And now that the absolute terror of Ireland is dead, could we see this man imposing himself on the affairs of the island. He is currently involved in... He's sorted out his own troubles, and he's now involved in a war. So this is Ormond is attempting to take Munster, from what I can see. Or else Thomond is attempting to take Munster. Somebody is attempting to overthrow Munster. Somebody in Munster is attempting to overthrow Munster. And Niall has joined in defense of the province. Brian, I should actually say, first of all, before we move away from Niall, that Niall has a strong hook on us, because he knows that Brian murdered just some randomer on a hunt and blamed it on a stag, so that's awkward. But also, while Ucca was indeed a great ruler, has left behind a lot of money, he has left an unfortunate scenario where he allowed Leinster to absorb Meath and Oriel. Ulla has collapsed. Leinster has grown tremendously and is probably close to being in a stronger position than Connacht. So while Ucca has been a tremendous ruler, he has probably created problems that he has pushed down the line to let his incompetent son Brian deal with. So I have had a tremendous amount of fun with the Fallen Eagle mod, getting to play as Eochaid Mugmedón and following in his footsteps, raiding the coast of Britain. The political upheaval in Britain really presented a fantastic opportunity to just continuously raid there. Anytime that we went to Gaul, I think we hit Gaul 3 times, and 2 of those times the Western Roman Empire raised its army against us. Whereas in Britain that never happened. We just had the constant use of whatever money we wanted. It was ours for the taking. And again, like I've said a couple of times, that's fairly accurate to what this time period would have looked like. You would have had constant raids from Ireland, especially on the west coast of Britain. So I really enjoy that raid mechanic. I'm still a bit iffy about the human sacrifice mechanic that was added, or I should say the ability for human sacrifices as part of the Gaelic pagan religion. I still have no idea what the deities did. There's maybe a small amount of work that needs to be done in sorting out the powers and the dynasties, sorting out some of the family names, like House Lyne and House Bray. But I actually really enjoy this, and I'm definitely going to be revisiting this mod again in future. For now, I'm going to call it there. We have achieved greatness and glory as Eochaid Mugmedón. We have kept our kingdom together. We have seen Ulla fall and Meath fall. We're seeing Munster weakened. We've seen tremendous upheaval in Britain, I will say in England and in Scotland. But we have remained stable through all of it. We only suffered a couple of raids. And we made ourselves feared and exalted among men. Thank you very much for joining me on this playthrough. Check the links below in the description for a link to the mod. Go and check it out. Tell me what bits about it you enjoy and don't enjoy, especially if you're playing as Ireland. I'd be really interested to hear what other people's Ireland playthroughs look like. Subscribe to be kept up to date with new videos, new content on various different things I'll be doing going forward. And as always, thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you again in future.